my name is Sarah, and in this video series, I'm showing you how to apply to UTSA's graduate programs as an international student using the Liaison application portal. If at the end of this video series you still have questions, you can contact the graduate admissions at UTSA by emailing graduate.admissions@utsa.edu or calling 210-458-7985. All right, in the previous videos, I've showed you how to create your application, add a program, fill out the personal information section and the academic history section. And in this video, I'll show you how to complete and submit your application. So let's go to that next section, the supporting information section. And there's only two small sections here. First, the acknowledgements. So you must review and respond to the acknowledgements on this page in order to submit your application. And when you click, I certify I have read and agree, this serves as a contract between you and UTSA. So you need to make sure you read through all of these carefully and you do agree to these. Once you have read and agreed to all of these statements, you'll press save and continue. Then you're going to go on to documents, and any documents that are required, you'll submit here by clicking add document. You'll see if there's a red star, that means that document is required. And this will be different depending on your circumstances of your application and your program. Okay, so those are only two sections in this one. And then you'll go to program materials. When you click here, you'll see all the programs that you have added up here. Now here, I've only added one, so I only have one listed. If you've added multiple, then you'll see a list of those programs. You're going to click on the program, and then you'll see some information about the program, admissions requirements, and contact information. Then in documents, you'll see required documents and optional documents. This is going to be different for every program. Each program is going to require different documents, so make sure you're paying attention to what your program requires. To add the document, you're just going to click add the document and you'll add a file from your computer. Okay, then you can go over here for the recommendations. You'll see right here how many are required and how many are allowed. Once again, this is different for each program. So every program has a different number of required recommendations. Make sure you're paying attention to what your program needs. Okay, so in this section, you're not actually going to be uploading any letters of recommendation yourself. What you will be doing is you'll be giving a recommender. So you're giving contact information for a person who will then recommend you. All right. Once you have put in this form, which has their contact information, an email request will be sent to the person on your behalf. So you should tell your recommender, the person that you fill this out for, to look for the email. If they don't see it in their inbox, they should check their spam or junk mail folders because occasionally the email will get sent there instead. All right, so to add a recommender, you're going to click here. You'll add their name, email address right there. Make sure, well, I recommend that you contact this person in advance. So you know that they're willing to write this letter for you, that they have the time to write it, and so you can get an email address that you know that they check regularly. All right, so you're going to put that email address that they gave you here, their first and last name, the due date, and then you can add a personal message here. I do recommend that this message is not the first time you contact them. I recommend that you contact them before you fill out this form, but it's nice to also write a message here. Then you have a yes and no question. I waive my right of access to this recommendation. If you click yes, that means you will not be able to see the letter that is sent on your behalf, the recommendation letter. If you click no, then at some point in the future, you will be allowed to see this letter of recommendation. Then you have two more permissions, permission to contact the recommender. I hereby give permission to contact this recommender via email to request the completion of the recommendation form and letter of recommendation. So this means that you're giving permission for this application to contact the person you've put the information for above through the email that you gave above. to fill out this recommendation form and letter for you. Now, the second part says, if my recommender does not submit an online recommendation form in response to the email request, it is my sole responsibility to contact the recommender directly to ensure all recommendations required by my designated schools are received by the deadline. So, what this is saying is that when you fill out this form, an email will be sent to the recommender. However, it is your responsibility to check in with that person and make sure they're keeping up with the deadline and that they submit this form and the letter by the deadline. This application is not going to constantly contact your recommender if they have not submitted their recommendation letter. It's your responsibility to keep on track of that. So you're going to have to agree to this to submit it. You'll press the check mark here, and then you have one more permission. This is permission for the schools to contact the recommender. I understand that the schools to which I am applying may contact the recommender either to verify information provided and/or for further clarification of the information provided, and I hereby give permission for schools to do so. So this is saying that you give permission to UTSA to contact the recommender that you've listed on this form to ask any follow-up questions or clarification questions about their recommendation. And you will have to agree to both of these to submit this form. So once you submit this recommender, then you can go back and you can add as many as are required. Make sure you're adding as many as are required. This program requires 3, so you would need to add 3. All right, wonderful. And once again, remember that you're going to have to keep track of this and make sure that your recommenders do in fact submit the letter of recommendation and fill out the form by the deadline. Okay, so once you've completed this, you've uploaded your required documents, you've filled out these forms, then you can go back to My Application. When you've completed everything, all of these should be completely green. Okay, that's when you know you're done. And then you can go up here to Submit Application. Here, if you have multiple programs, you'll see the multiple programs listed. I've only had one, so I only see one. When you're ready to submit, this whole thing will be green, and so will this check mark, and you'll have the Submit button here, and you can click that. Then you'll need to proceed with the payment in order to fully submit your application, because your application is not submitted without this payment. Once your application is submitted, no changes or refunds can be made. So make sure you check over everything before you submit this application and you pay for the fee, because you will not be able to get your money back after you do pay the fee, and you will not be able to change the application once it is submitted. All right, wonderful. I hope this video series has helped answer any questions that you had about your application. But of course, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us at UTSA with the contact information for graduate admissions. Thank you.